Alright, Chris, in Unit 12, we're kind of going off in a new direction. It really doesn't have much to do with what we've been covering, but we're kind of in the part of the year where we hit a bunch of random topics that are just prep work for next year. So in Unit 12, we're talking about different types of data displays. In Unit 12, Part 1, we're talking about stem and leaf plots and histograms. Stem and leaf plots you've probably seen before. Histograms, I don't know if you have. So I'm actually recording this video today. What's today? January 26, 2017. This is the first video I've recorded in about a year and a half. So bear with me. Got to get back into the swing of things. But I actually moved this from Unit 19 to Unit 12, so I don't have videos for it yet. So first thing we're talking about is making stem and leaf plots. Stem and leaf plot organizes data based on digits, and that'll make sense as we get into this. But we're going to organize data based on digits. So our first example, there's a bunch of data there, a bunch of different numbers there. And the first thing I did was I put them in order from least to greatest. You don't have to do that. I think it's a lot easier. So that's the first thing I always do. So like I said, these are in order from least to greatest. Then when you make a stem and leaf plot, okay, you're basically going to have a line. Okay, all the stems are going to go on the left. Okay, all the leaves are going to go on the right. Now, the stems, the number of digits in the stems aren't limited to everything, but your leaves are always just the last digit. Okay, so let me set this up for you, and that'll probably make a little bit more sense. So our first number is 4, so I'm going to write that over here on the right, and I'm also going to write 7 over here on the right. Okay, again, they're on the right side because they're the last digit. They're only one-digit numbers, so they have to go on the right. Now, since everything else has 2 digits, I need to put a 0 over here on the left. So the next thing I would do is work down to my next stem. So we only have 2 digits, so the stem is the number on the left of the number in the tens place. So I put a 1, and then for 10 I would put a 0. Then when I get to the 20s, so I put a 2 on the left, I put 1 on the right, and 3 on the right for 21 and 23. Then I have a 30, so I put a 3, put a 0 on the right. For my 40s, I have 41 and 43. For the 50s, I have 54, 55, and 56. And for the 60s, I have 60 and 67. For the 70s, I have 6 and 8. For 76 and 78. Okay. Now, I didn't do a very good job. I didn't fit all these on here. Okay, but I would also need to have 8 on the left, and then 8 and 9 on the right, so 88 and 89. Now, every time you make a stem and leaf plot, you have to put a key at the end, because if you hadn't seen the numbers that you were given at the very beginning, just looking at the stem and leaf plot, you don't know what 1 line 10 or 2 line 3 means. Okay, so you have to put a key at the end. So for example, I can put something like 4 line 3 means 43. So that tells people that everything that I'm working with is 2 digits. Right, so let's look at another example. So again, the first thing I'm going to do is put all these in order from least to greatest. So I've got these numbers in order from least to greatest, and then if you notice the 3-digit numbers, and we said earlier that only the last digit goes on the right side. Everything else has to go on the left side. So in this case, we have the hundreds place and the tens place on the left side. So my first number is 105. So I'd have 10 on the left, I'd have 5 on the right, and I also need to put a 7 over here on the right. For the 110s, I have 111, 113, 114, and 116. For the 120s, I don't have anything in 120, so I just leave 12 there and don't write anything down. But you have to include the 12 there. For the 130s, I have 130, and I have 139. For the 140s, I have 142 and 144. And for the 150s, I have 153 and 156. And then for the 16s, or the 160s, I have 169. Okay. Now again, this doesn't mean anything unless I have a key. So let's say I'm going to put 10 line 7, and I'd write means 107. So I'm going to use the key. Okay. Scrolling back up to the first one real quick. I actually made a mistake here. I have 2 43s, and this is something I needed to show you. If it repeats, you would write a second 3. So right here where I have 1 and 3, I need to put another 3. So that's 243. On the back of that page, we're talking about frequency tables and histograms. You cannot make a histogram until you have a frequency table first. So we'll start with frequency tables. A frequency table groups data in intervals. So for our assembly plots, we group data based on digits. Now we're grouping data in different intervals. So our example is the weights of dogs in pounds, and they give us a bunch of examples of different weights. Okay, so when we make our frequency table, you can make something that looks like what I already have. We need to make sure we put what we're talking about here. So we're talking about pounds. And then we need to create different intervals. Intervals meaning like 1 to 5, 1 to 3, 4 to 7. You can pick any intervals you want as long as they're the same. So you can go by 3s, you can go by 5s, you can go by 20s, as long as you're consistent. So I'm going to go by 10. So I'm going to do 1 to 10, 11 to 20, 21 to 30, 31 to 40, 41 to 50, and then if I scroll down, one more spot, but 51, 60. Then I'm just going to go through all the examples and put little tally marks where they go. So I have 53, so I put a tally mark for 51 to 60. 5, 12, 18, 31, 37, 40, 9, 49, 7, 51, 6, 11, 38, and 19. So I put tally marks as I go through them, and then I count the frequency. So I have 4 of them that fell between 1 and 10, 4 between 11 and 20, 0 between 21 and 30, which is fine. I have 4 between 31 and 40. I have 1 between 41 and 50, and I have 2 between 51 and 60. And so that's a frequency table. They just tally and then count the frequency. You have to pick the interval. So we can use a frequency table to then make a histogram. A histogram displays data from the frequency table. So we're putting our frequency table onto a graph. So if you look, I just gave you a blank kind of chart here. We've got to talk about a few things. So we have to label everything. So we're going to make a histogram based on our frequency table. On the right side is going to be the number of dogs. So on the y-axis, and then our x-axis, and on the bottom, we're going to have the weight. I want to say that in pounds. So my different intervals will go along the bottom, okay? And then up and down will be the number of dots. So I'm going to put 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 here. And then I need my intervals along the bottom. So we have one from 1 to 10. We have 11 to 20, 21 to 30, 31 to 40, 41 to 50, 51 to 60. So I have all my intervals there. Okay, then I can go ahead and build my histogram. Okay, a histogram looks a lot like a bar graph. The difference is all the bars touch. So let me show what I mean by that. So between 1 and 10, we had 4 dogs. So I would draw my bar like that. 11 and 20, we also had 4. So if you look, these 2 bars are connected. They're touching each other. Okay. 21 to 30, I had none, so I leave it blank. 31 to 40, I also had 4 again. From 41 to 50, I had 2. I had 1. So again, these 2 bars connect to make 1. And then 51 to 60, I had 2. Again, the bars connect. Okay. And then you would just color them. So that's what my histogram looks like. Again, those bars touch because if you look, these numbers flow 1 right into each other. 1 to 10, 11, 20, 21, they all flow. So that's why they all touch. Okay, looking at the last page on here, we're going to look at interpreting a histogram. So it says the theater group handed out cards at its last performance. You got information about the ages of the people who attend the group's performance. The histogram shows the results. So if you look, the number of people on the left and their age intervals are on the bottom. So if you look, they also have their bars touching each other because the ages go one to the other. So it says, what percent of people who attended the show were under 30 years old? Round your answer to the nearest percent. I have no idea why the answer is there. But let's look at how to figure it out. Okay. To find the percent, we want the number who were under 30, which would be 20 to 29. So there's 12 people that were under 30. And then we need that over the total amount of people. So that'd be 12 plus 14 plus 7 plus 2, which is going to give you 35. Okay, and then if we turn that into percent and round it, we get 34%. The part B says, in which age group does the median age fall? Remember, median means determine order from least to greatest. You find the one in the middle. So if you look at our histogram, if you look at how many people there were, you can see that our median lands between 30 and 39. And then it says, the theater group advertised its performance on the radio. Should the group advertise on a station with younger adults like or one older adults like? So if you look at your histogram, the majority of the people were younger, so they want to advertise to younger. All right, make sure you do the practice problems at the bottom. Okay, you can actually, we know how to do slope. We do not know how to do midpoint formula yet, so you can skip those last couple.